Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Fulton Street Beats. If you caught my unboxing of this Kramer Striker, you know that it had a lot of issues, and we're going to touch base on that real quick, tell you all the issues, and then we'll tell you, well, what I had to do to make it right. If you watch a video, you know it's probably the worst setup guitar. Matter of fact, it's not probably. It was the worst setup guitar, or not setup guitar, that's ever came through here at Fulton Street Beats. But let's talk about everything. So first, the frets were, well, finger slicers, literally finger slicers. They were horrible, bad frets. Later on, I found out that they weren't leveled either. So I did a fret job on it. It was very time consuming with these frets to do because we don't want to mark up the edges of the fretboard on this particular guitar. At least I didn't want to. So they're done. It's now smooth. It's like glass. They're leveled. So that is done. So that was one thing. Another thing was the pickup height was never adjusted. The pickups were all wonky, and they were actually touching the strings. That's right. The neck was higher. The neck pickup was actually higher than the neck and right into the strings. Now, a lot of people said even, because the trim wasn't adjusted. Well, yeah, but it still was higher than the neck, and that's a no-no. It was hitting the strings was unacceptable. The other two weren't adjusted properly either. We have that taken care of. Then, the tuners themselves were all loose. And what I mean is not just the nuts on the top front were loose, but the tuners themselves were all willy-nilly and wonky in different directions. And the screws weren't actually even screwed down into the neck. It came, of course, these were all loose, about to fall out on the R2 nut. And then when we got into the back here, we found that the claw itself, now here's a problem. This is something that I wasn't able to address while I changed it, but I wasn't able to, something I couldn't have worked with. The claw itself needed to be moved over. They drilled it wrong. So I had to fill the holes, move the claw over because it was literally scraping the side of the body. That's right. It wasn't put in properly. It wasn't centered. And then the claw itself looked like a 4-year-old took an angle grinder and cut out the claw. There's no way that's a Floyd Rose claw in there. So Kramer, Gibson, I'm talking to you. I don't know what you're using for parts, but that's unacceptable. Where did that stuff come from? So that was pretty weird. Then we found that the strings were not running down the fretboard properly, and the low E was almost off of the fretboard because the neck was not inserted into the pocket properly, or so I thought. Come to find out, it really wasn't even inserted. It was loose. It's right, the back bolts that hold the neck on were all loose. One was even coming out, and there was even some paint, which I don't know where it came from. The only thing I could think of, I was on the ground, and the only thing I think of is that they put this guitar together when it was kind of wet for some reason in there, and the paint came up. But that was literally sticking out. It was kind of crazy. I really couldn't believe it. Now, the action on the guitar, once I did tune it up, and try to get it right. I started tuning it, and the strings started popping out of the tremolo. That's right. They never even tightened the strings up in the tremolo, so the locks weren't tight on there. Well, there was one issue I had. So you put some new strings on it, and then, see, the action was sky high, unplayably sky high. Well, why? Well, the neck needed a shim. The neck was not shimmed right, nor was the neck straight or proper. I put the gauge on the neck, and it was just it was crazy. So it was a combination of everything. So what they did is they put all the parts in the guitar. Somebody flipped it over and threw a sticker on it, and they put it in a box, and it was never set up. That's exactly what happened with this guitar. Nobody got it and said, oh, it needs this stuff before it goes out the door. Some ass clown, put their initial or letter or number on here and said, oh, that's good enough, and sent it out the door. Now, does that reflect on Kramer? Well, of course it reflects on Kramer. Of course it reflects on Gibson. But it's that one person who put this sticker on that needs to burn in hell. Of course, I'm exaggerating maybe, but that person right there definitely needs to be fired, because that means when they stuck this sticker on, they actually had to see these tuners and the screws sticking out as they put that sticker on. Disgruntled employee? What is it? I don't know. Now, this is not an Indonesian Kramer. No, I thought it would have been, but it's not. This is made in China. Not that it makes a difference at all. It doesn't make a difference where it comes from. People are people. Pride is pride. If you're going to do something, do it right. I mean, come on, look at most of our electronics come from China. They work, right? So obviously, if you can get an asshole in the United States, you can get an asshole in China, you can get an asshole in Indonesia, no matter Zimbabwe, no matter where you are. But that person right there that put that sticker on, boo to them. And I'm going to reach out to Gibson and Kramer and tell them exactly the issues that this guitar had, because this was unacceptable, unplayable. And if you took this to a luthier to have this done, if you did not know how to do this, you're going to end up paying more than you paid for the guitar. It's that simple, because simply doing the frets and doing them right on this is a lot of work. So now we have a lot of work into this guitar, but it plays awesome. The action is actually a tick below 1 millimeter at the 12, just where I like it. I like them at about 1 millimeter. I like them as low as I can go without buzzing. Now we have it. Why? Because I had the opportunity to set the guitar up myself and select my own shim to dial it in perfectly. So it is dialed in perfectly. Does it sound good? It's a decent sounding guitar. We'll demo it in a second here. And what's it good for? Of course, it's good for metal style music. But is it the best sounding guitar? No, it's not. Not even close. That's why we're going to do some upgrades to this. We are going to change a couple pickups. I like the center pickup. The center's a little mellow. I like the mellowness of the center pickup. We'll leave now, but we're going to change the bridge pickup to a floor, and we're going to change the neck pickup to a floor, and they're going to be rail pickups. Yes, that's right. We're going to do a humbucker rail here and a single coil rail here. That way we can keep them nice and hot and not lose any tones because there's no poles to move over. So it's one solid piece that goes across there. And that's perfect for metal. So that's what we're going to do later on to this guitar. And then we're actually, I say refinish. We're not going to refinish it. We're going to skin the front of this guitar. And we're going to put one of the coolest graphics that I think should ever go on an 80s looking shred guitar. And I'm not going to give it away right now, but it's going to be cool. I'm trying to work with the manufacturer of this skin and hopefully can work something out. And I got the idea in my head, and I think it's going to look great. I think it's going to fit in with this color. And the best part, it protects your finish. So later on, you can pull it off and still have that beautiful finish underneath without ruining it. And perhaps we'll do it on the front and the back to also protect the finish on the back of this guitar. So nice soggy guitar too. I forget what it weighs right now, but it's a pretty soggy guitar. It is mahogany. Maple neck, very slim C, not a D, but a slim C. But I can't feel the difference between this and a D, really, to tell you the truth. It's a very slim, fast neck. Perfect for my hands. Let's put it that way. It might vary for you. If you've got small hands, you might feel the difference a little more. I don't. So it feels good in my hands. And the Floyd Rose, now that it is set up, and this is a Floyd Rose special. This is not one of their great ones. It's a special. Specials work fine. I think this guitar stays in tune remarkably well now. And that's because, a few reasons. The way it holds, springs are a very, very important part of that. And believe it or not, the block also is a very important part and has a role in keeping the guitar in tune. I've actually seen some blocks so thin and junky that they actually start moving on you and bending. Yeah, that's right. That's pretty crazy. But this actually has a legit Floyd Rose block on it proper, unlike the claw. Which is a generic junk claw that you would find in a Walmart guitar or even a Kmart guitar. That's what it appeared to be. Actually, worse than I've ever seen. The claw was bad. I'll show that to you in another video. But that's it. In a nutshell, this is the Kramer Striker. And I do like this guitar now, but this is the way it should have came. Do I recommend Kramer? I do. Keep in mind, this is the only bad one that I've ever gotten. So hopefully, and it's not hopefully, I'm sure they're all not this way, but the guitars that pass through this moron's hands that put the sticker on here, that's the one you got to look out for. So I'm going to show you that sticker on the back there, in case you guys ever get a guitar with that little, looks like a number 7 on there. If you ever see that on the back of your Kramer, run. I suggest you send it right back and say, we want the guitar until that guy's gone, or her, whoever it is, or it. You never know these days. All right, guys, thanks for watching Fulton Street Beats, and remember, it is rock and roll that makes the world go round.